Hi, my name is Alex, and today I'm going to tell you a story called Knocking Until Midnight. Get comfortable, turn the lights down a little, because this one builds slowly. It happened in Chicago, one freezing December. Three friends, Ethan, Marcus, and Ryan, had known each other since college. All three of them were guys who loved doing things big. If they were going to celebrate New Year's Eve, it had to be unforgettable. No crowded bars this year, Marcus said one evening. No cheap house party either, Ryan added. Ethan leaned back in his chair. We rent an apartment downtown, high floor, skyline view, midnight fireworks. They all went quiet for a second, imagining it. And then they started searching. It didn't take long to find something unbelievable. A luxury high-rise apartment right in the center of the city. Floor-to-ceiling windows, a massive living room with soft golden lighting, white leather couch, glass table. A modern kitchen with marble counters and steel appliances that still looked brand new. But the best part, outside the window, down in the plaza below, stood a gigantic Christmas tree, wrapped in thousands of lights. It looked magical against the winter skyline. That's it, Marcus whispered. The landlord needed a deposit immediately to hold it. Ryan said he'd send it. That night, Ethan texted him. Deposit done? There was a long pause. I forgot, Ryan replied. Marcus immediately called him. You forgot? I got busy. I'll do it first thing in the morning. But morning was too late. The apartment was gone. The group chat went silent. For a moment it felt like New Year's was ruined before it even began. Still, they refused to give up. After hours of searching, Ethan found another place, much cheaper, older. The photos were dim, the furniture outdated, but it was available for December 31st. Marcus called. An elderly woman answered. Her voice was thin, almost fragile. Yes, you can come. I'll be there. I'll leave you the key. Something about her tone felt strange, but they didn't question it. On New Year's Eve, just after sunset, they arrived. The building stood on a quiet street, brick walls darkened by time. A flickering street lamp buzzed at the entrance. Snow lined the sidewalks. No one else was outside. Inside, the hallway lights blinked softly. The air felt heavy, still. This place feels off, Marcus muttered. Relax, Ryan said. It's just old. They knocked. The door creaked open slowly. A small elderly woman stood pale skin, grey hair pulled back tightly, dark sweater, eyes that seemed distant. Happy New Year, boys, she said quietly. Enjoy your evening. She handed them the key and walked away down the stairwell without looking back. They stepped inside. The apartment was modest. Patterned carpet, faded wallpaper, a wooden dining table in the center of the living room. And against the far wall stood a tall grandfather clock, its pendulum swinging back and forth with a slow metallic tick. Outside the window in the courtyard below stood a small Christmas tree glowing faintly. It wasn't glamorous, but it would do. They started cooking. Ethan made creamy garlic pasta. Marcus roasted chicken with herbs and crispy potatoes. Ryan prepared brownies and arranged snacks, chips, cheese, crackers, and a bottle of champagne waiting on the table. The room slowly filled with warmth and the smell of food. They laughed, told old stories, poured drinks. The clock read 11:34 p.m., then knock, soft, clear. All three froze. Did you hear that? Marcus whispered. Another knock. Slower. Who's there? Ethan called out. Silence. Ryan stood up. I'll check. He walked toward the door carefully. The hallway outside was dark, no shadows under the door, no footsteps. Hello? A whisper came through the wood. Open. The door. Ryan stepped back immediately. That's not funny. I didn't say anything, Marcus replied. They stared at each other. Minutes passed. The clock ticked louder. Then, knock, again. This time harder. Open. The temperature in the room began to drop. Their breath became faintly visible. Ethan tried his phone. No signal. Marcus checked the Wi-Fi. Nothing. 11:47 p.m. The knocking continued every few minutes. Each time the same whisper followed. Let me in. The door handle twitched once. Ryan backed away completely. 11:53 p.m. The knocking became aggressive. Bang! 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 The lights flickered. The grandfather clock ticked faster than before, its pendulum swinging with unnatural force. Do not open it, Ethan said firmly. I'm not going near it, Marcus replied. 11:58 p.m. The knocking turned violent. The entire door shook in its frame. Open, the door. The voice sounded strained, desperate, almost angry. 11:59 p.m. Non-stop pounding. The walls seemed to tremble. The candles flickered wildly. The clock began to groan as if something inside it were winding tighter, tighter, and then midnight. The first heavy strike of the grandfather clock rang through the apartment. Bong. Instantly, silence. No knocking, no whisper, no shaking. The air warmed, the lights steadied. The second strike echoed. Bong. Still nothing. They stood there breathing heavily, waiting. But nothing else happened. After the 12th strike, everything felt normal. Marcus forced a laugh. Happy New Year. Slowly, uncertainly, they returned to the table. They poured champagne, they toasted, they convinced themselves it had been a prank. Old pipes, strange acoustics, their imagination. Eventually, exhaustion won. In the morning, as they packed up to leave, Ryan stopped at the front door. Guys, on the inside of the door were deep scratch marks, long, jagged, as if something had clawed from inside the apartment, trying to get out. Marcus slowly turned toward the grandfather clock. On the wall beside it, faintly carved into the wallpaper, were the numbers, 12s. Later that afternoon, they asked a neighbor about the elderly woman. The neighbor looked confused. "What old lady?" he asked. "The one who owns this apartment." He shook his head slowly. "She died years ago, New Year's Eve, right at midnight." The three of them never rented in that neighborhood again. But every December 31st, just before midnight, Ryan swears he hears a soft knock somewhere nearby, and it always stops, exactly at 12. If this story gave you chills, then I did my job. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and tell me in the comments, would you have opened the door? See you in the next story.